Hey guys, what's up? It's IG. On the Disposable Gorilla channel, for now. We'll see how that goes. Now, I haven't uploaded a video in a while, but I've made several videos that I have not uploaded. And that's mainly because after watching them and thinking about them, I came to the realization that, well, the YouTube community is pretty stupid, and I really don't want to spend a lot of time in comment sections or making other videos, explaining myself, because it seems most of you suffer from ADD or ADHD of some sort, and you'll take a small portion of what I say without considering the entire context, and then go on some rant, some insulting rant, or some kind of stereotype, or some other stupid tangent, and then we're no longer talking about the overall message of my video, and I just don't have time for that. I mean, I just don't. And yeah, I could go back and I could edit those videos, and maybe it's my fault, and I should take some responsibility, and say, okay, well, maybe I need to script a little bit better, or maybe I need to articulate my points a little bit more concisely. And, that might be true. But, like I said, who has time for that? So I figured I'd tackle something a little bit more straightforward, something a little bit, easier to grasp without taking me out of context. And so I was watching videos today after work, and I saw this one by Eve. Now, let me say this. I understand fully that this video by Eve is comedy, okay? In no way, shape, or form do I think that she's being 100% serious. I think that this was done to be funny. And it is a funny video. As a matter of fact, I will link it in the description so you can go watch and chuckle along, as I did. But it raised a couple of red flags. And this isn't an attack on Eve. This isn't meant to be drama. This isn't meant to be anything other than some commentary on the topic of profanity and the internet. Now, Eve makes this false equivocation, saying that it's religious people that are offended by profanity, which is really not the case. I found that there are all different types of people, religious and non-religious people, that can be offended by profanity. It depends on, I think, the class of people you associate with. Now, I know that sounds a certain way, but so be it. That is the truth. If you associate with trashy people, you're less offended by trashy talk. But if you hang out with more educated people and more classy people, they tend to speak a little bit more sophisticatedly and tend to swear less. And so when you run into someone, that says the F word, every third word in a sentence, it's a bit off-putting. It's not necessarily offensive. It's just it's a red flag that identifies you as uneducated and with a small vocabulary. So, and that's one of the things that I've said over and over again. I said, look, I'm not offended by profanity. I will use profanity on occasion for emphasis. I try not to, and there are a couple of reasons why I don't, besides my religious beliefs. I don't think, from a religious point of view, I don't think, profanity is really one of those big issues, one of those, gonna send you to hell kind of issues if you believe in a hell and all that stuff. I don't think it's along those lines. But, I was raised a certain way. I was raised to speak a certain way, to be expressive, freely expressive, and also to be courteous and polite and respectful in my speech. And, I've been known on occasion to drop occasional F-bomb and, and swear. But like I said, I'm not real all that comfortable with it. And when I do, I get kind of a weird feeling like I really didn't need to say that. And, there's a bit of regret going on. Another reason is that I have kids. And kids are sponges, and they become mirror images of their parents when they grow up. And I I don't like the idea of my girls growing up to have filthy, disgusting mouths. It's not ladylike. It's not all that socially acceptable, and it's pretty unnecessary if you're educated. There are plenty of other words you can use to express yourself without using profanity. Now, when you're angry or when you're, telling a dirty joke, I think these can be exceptions. I think, you need to be careful, and choose them wisely, of course. But what we're talking about here is, are people that continuously use multiple swear words, in sentences, and are just vulgar. And I think it's more of a sign of your, like I said, your inability to express yourself than anything else. And I'm not offended by it. I feel embarrassed for you, because what you're really telling everybody is that I don't have the vocabulary to express myself, so I'm gonna use a bunch of filler filth to do so. And I don't think it makes you cool, and I don't think that being religious or non-religious really has anything to do with people being offended. I think that if you're in the company of people that don't care for that kind of language, maybe you should hold your tongue a bit, right? I mean, we do this anyway. We're sensitive about the words that we use around certain types of people because we don't want to offend them. Think about it. I'm not going to give you any examples because that would be bad. But we all do it. When you're with family around the holidays, do you speak the same way around your family that you do, the guys at the bar? I mean, I know I don't. So when we're on the internet, don't you think, and we're around people that we know are offended by this stuff, then don't you think it's kind of appropriate to maybe cut back on the F-bombs just for the sake of not being a complete douchebag? I don't know. So Eve's video is funny because what she's doing is she's, replacing childish funny words for these profane words and then using them in a sentence. And the thing is that she thinks that by doing this, it makes you sound silly, right? And it does, to say poopy and tushy and all these little silly versions of these words. But in reality, you sound just as silly saying the actual words to a lot of people. So it's kind of ironic, I think, where using a lot of swear words, I think, makes you sound just as silly as using the substitutions. So I thought that was an interesting point that I'd make, is that a lot of these phrases that Eve gives as examples are completely unnecessary in a lot of instances, especially in the theater of the great debate. So anyhow, so again, this is an attack on Eve. I like Eve. Eve and I are friends. We disagree on things. We agree on things. We go at it from time to time. And, and I enjoy talking and chilling with Eve. So I don't want anyone to think that, I'm picking on her in specific, because there are other atheists that I think swear more often than she does, if you can believe that. There are a number of them. And I think they sound just as silly. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.